This is top-notch stuff. I'm not even halfway through this article. Instead, Obama wants to increase the oversight power of the Federal Reserve. Never mind that it already had significant oversight power before our most recent economic meltdown, yet failed to take action. Never mind that the Fed is not a government agency, but a cartel of private bankers that cannot be held accountable by Washington. Whatever the Fed does with these supposed new oversight powers will be behind closed doors. Obama's failure to act sends one message loud and clear. He cannot stand up to the powerful Wall Street interests that supplied the bulk of his campaign money for the 2008 election, nor for that matter can Congress, which for much of the same reason. Consider what multi-billionaire banker David Rockefeller wrote in 2002 in his memoirs. Some even believe we are part of a secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States, characterizing my family and me as internationalists, and of conspiring with others around the world to build a more integrated global political and economic structure. One world, if you will. If that's the charge, I stand guilty and am proud of it. That he wrote this in his own memoirs. Big time move, Flint. I love it. I love it. Way to bring that quote into the main line, okay? That's not just posted on a message board somewhere. That's not just in the comments. That's in the article. Go, Larry. Go, Larry. It's your birthday. Wish you could walk. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this guy took a bullet for free speech. Regardless of what you think of the man, this article is off the charts great. Read Rockefeller's words again. He actually admits to working against the best interests of the United States. Need more? Here's what Rockefeller said in 1994 at a UN dinner. We are on the verge of a global transformation. All we need now is the right major crisis, and the nations will accept the new world order. They are gaming us. Our country has been stolen from us. Journalist Matt Taibbi, writing in the Rolling Stone, who I am not a fan of, who I had a debate online with, which I just had to cut off at some point because I was so damn busy about 9/11 and his smug attitude. I mean, Taibbi, anytime you want to debate live on the radio about 9/11, you know I'll own your ass. That's why you refused to do it then. I'm sure you refuse to do it now. If anybody emails him, reads his stuff, tell him the offer's still on the table. I would love to have Matt Taibbi on and take him. I'll take it to the house on Matt Taibbi. Let's be honest. I'm going to make him look like a fool because that's what he is. All right. Let's see. The feat of banking giant Goldman Sachs. Taibbi goes on to say that Goldman Sachs has been behind every other economic downturn as well, including the most recent one. As if that wasn't enough, Goldman Sachs even had a hand in pushing gas prices up to $4 a gallon. Weird. The problem with bankers is long-standing. Here's what one of our founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson, had to say about them. If the American people allow private banks to control the issue of their currency, first by inflation and then by deflation, the banks and the corporations that will grow up around them will deprive the people of all property until their children wake up homeless on a continent their fathers conquered. We all know that the first American Revolution officially began in 1776 with the Declaration of Independence. Less well known is the single strongest motivation factor for a revolution was the colonists' attempt to free themselves from the Bank of England. But how many of you know about the Second Revolution, referred to by historians as Shays' Rebellion? I know about Shays' Rebellion only because I took AP History. Thank you so much, history teacher. Why can't I think of his name? Man, I'm losing it. I can't even think of my history teacher's name, and he's actually a really good guy. Maybe I'll think of it while I do this. It took place in 1786 to 1787, and once again, the banks were the cause. This time, they were putting the screws to America's farmers. Daniel Shays was a farmer in western Massachusetts. Like many other farmers of the day, he was being driven into bankruptcy by the bank's predatory lending practices. Sound familiar? They've done it to thousands of farmers in this country again and again and again and again throughout history. Rallying other farmers to his side, Shay led his rebellion by attacking the courts and the local army. The rebellion itself failed, but a message had been sent. The bankers and politicians who supported them ultimately backed off. As Thomas Jefferson famously quipped in regard to his insurrection, a little rebellion now and then is a good thing. The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. Perhaps it's time to consider that option once again. Damn, Larry, you're taking it. You're like going up for a layup, and you're like, you know what? I'm not going to lay it up. I'm going to dunk it down. I'm going to powerhouse dunk, hanging on the rim, kicking the dude from underneath, saying, "This is my house." That's what this article is. I'm calling for a national strike, one designed to close the country down for a day. The intent, real campaign finance reform and strong restrictions on lobbying, because nothing will change until we take corporate money out of politics. Correct. We do need to take corporate money out of politics. This needs to be a government formed by the people again. This guy is on the right track. Nothing will improve until our politicians are once again answerable to their constituents, not the rich and powerful. Let's set a date. No one goes to work. No one buys anything. And if that isn't effective, if the politicians ignore us, we do it again and again and again. The real war is not between the left and the right. It is between the average American and the ruling class. If we come together on this single issue, everything else will resolve itself. It's time we took back our government from those who would make us their slaves. Wow. Big time. This one wins the championship. I have not seen a mainline article this good in years. I think some of the 9/11 Truth articles that they printed in Hustler magazine and abroad are nowhere near as good as this one. This is just an unbelievable article, telling it like it is, trying to alert the American people and then to take them into the battlefields, make them active, get them behind something that might work. Larry, keep it up, man. Huffington Post is nice, but let's get it on Drudge. Let's get an op-ed piece in the New York Times. Let's challenge these people. You can do it. You've got the resources, Mr. Flint. And don't forget to, email his people, email his website, and thank him so much for this. Folks, the final segment of the Infowarrior coming up after this. PrisonPlanet.tv, Infowars.com.
We are the insurgents.
And this is the front line of the battlefield. It's the Infowarrior with Jason Bermas. If you missed any of the show, you can go pick it up on podcast over at the Infowarrior.com, or if you're a PrisonPlanet.tv subscriber, you can go get it on the video as well right after the show. All right, let's try to get through a couple more calls. William Robert, you're on the air. Yes.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Good. I went to one of the last concerts over at the backyard, and Fogerly was there.
Okay.
And he, it was great. His tuner went across the stage for 30 minutes and tuned 10 plus guitars, and then as it was getting dark, the background came up with frogs and crickets and sounds of the swamp. And,
so you're telling me that I missed a Fogerty concert recently?
Oh, man. And hit the lights hit Fogerly and his backup group, which was much better than the Creedence Clearwater. Much better. And that guy went down on Born on the Bayou like you wouldn't believe. It was totally outstanding and better than I've ever heard it on
Well,
record.
sir, you are making me quite jealous. I thank you for the call just because I'm trying to jump through a couple more of these. But, man, I do want to see some Fogerty. I love CCR. I know that I'm a younger guy and I'm not supposed to like that genre of music, but CCR's Greatest Hits is one of my favorite CDs. I love Steve Miller Band. I mean, I like all genres of music, and he is incredible. All right, let's go to Justin in Texas. Justin, you're online. Yes, sir.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going? So you gave a false name. I should call you Chip Riverdale. You've already called in, and you're just here to bash me. I'll talk to you later. See you later. See, that's how you deal with people that call in under false names. You give their real name. See, they think they're smart, but they're not. They're very small-minded jackasses. And that guy called in, tried to bash me earlier. I knew he called in on a pseudo name. I knew he would answer to his real name because he has a peanut for a brain. And he's like, well, he must know my real name. He's going to give me a chance to talk again. Sorry, Spunky. You're off the air. Final caller. Let's go to DP in California. DP, final minute's yours.
Yes, Jason, thank you for taking my call. I appreciate that. Listen, I'm going to kind of take it. The pick and shovel going at this one right here is that years ago I was following Mike Rupert, and then Y2K come in, and I kind of dropped him. And as I started following you and Alex, I went back and looking for him, and his last, I guess you would call it, publication I think he was dying in Canada or something. And it
yeah,
was right
dude, he
before the
said he was in
election.
Venezuela at first. Listen, Mike Rupert did some really great work with the government drug running, and especially 9/11. The Truth and Lies of 9/11 lecture that he gave was a 3-part lecture. One of the first things that I saw that before I woke up to Jones, and then I also saw the GNN production. I forget what it was called, but it featured Jones and Mike Rupert, and that's where I kind of learned about Alex, and I looked at Road to Tyranny. Now, he put out a press release, one of the first things before he said something about dying in Canada. He said that he had to leave the country and that bad things were happening, and he went to Venezuela. Well, someone found him in Canada, so that was all made up. And I would just like to put it on the record that he attacked me and the other loose change filmmakers, saying that we were a carefully crafted piece of CIA disinformation. Look, I can guarantee all the listeners out there that I am not CIA disinformation. I don't have the scratch to be, okay? I'm not funded by some, crazy intelligence agency. I am a straight-laced, straight shooter, man. I'm going to tell you how I feel. I'm going to tell you what's up. I'm going to analyze news the way my little brain analyzes it. That's how I roll. I'm the Infowarrior, baby. We'll be back next week, 6 to 9, Sunday, prisonplanet.tv, Infowars.com.